Hi, I'm Sandra. Welcome to Create in Spain, and today I wanted to show you a couple of things that I've made that you might like to make yourself. I have here a sheet of stencils that I've cut out of a simple piece of acetate folder, and I don't know if you can actually see too well on camera, but this is a stencil of basically label shapes. And the reason I wanted this was so that I could cut out some labels and then I can do things like stencil in glue and put glitter on, or I can stencil in texture paste or something to that effect on labels, which is all very well and good, but you have to have the appropriate size label to go with it. So what I did when I made this file was I made the original shape without the stencil bits in it, the bits that make it hang on to the rest of the plastic. I made those original shapes and I put an offset on it, grouped the offset, moved it to one side. And then when I did this, I put in the little stencil bridges using shortcuts a lot. And so I've got my little stencil. Now, the other thing that I did was I took the file that I had made that was the offset file, and this is it here, basically. And I cut it out of a piece of card that I don't like, because I don't like to waste card that I do like on things that are purely useful, not actually to look at. And I've put it into another folder. And these are the sorts of folders that I actually cut my stencils from. And you might be able to see here I've put a couple of holes in it so it can go in a ring binder. The reason for that is because I have a couple of ring binders and one of them is here. And this is where I keep my stamp collection. This is purely for sentiment stamps. And I've got, I don't know, half a dozen A4 pages filled with sentiment stamps. And so this is now going to be put into this folder. The beauty of it is that if I, for example, choose a stamp that I want to do, I'll just open one up, pull one out at random. Alright, what have I got? Celebrate in style. I can now put it against any of these shapes and know if it's going to fit. I will know if it's going to fit the actual size of the tag, and then if I need to know if it's going to fit inside an actual frame, then I have this, which is going to be for the frame anyway. So no matter what I want to fit it in, I can tell that it's going to fit, and I can place it in as I wish and get a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like. So that's why I've done that. If you're wondering why I got so many sentiment stamps, it's because I make my own stamps these days, and I can make lots of them. And so I don't have to be stuck to half a dozen of any one variety. So I just need to put this back in before I forget it. Go in. There we go, that's back in. I need to put that back on the front page. I'll put it in one behind. So that is, sorry about all this clicking here. That's one of the things that I did. Another thing that I've done today is someone on the Silver Bullet forum was asking about faux stitched shapes. And so I made a file of the faux stitching, and then I thought, well, actually that's quite handy for me to know. It's handy for me to know the size of these, I don't know if you can see them, the size of the holes and things like that. So I just wrote it on the sample that I'd cut out, and I've put it in my little book. This little book is my basic go-to for many, many things. I have in here written things like my silver bullet, my guidelines that I had when I first started using it, and I've put my calibration numbers on there. Not neatly, I grant you, but they're on there. And I also in here keep things like samples of materials and how I cut them out, how well they cut out, and most recently for me, things like the timings on my light bulbs for making my UV stamps, my UV gel stamps. So yeah, that's really handy. The other thing that I made recently, made it yesterday I think, is this. Now it looks like a pen, but it isn't. It was a pen at one stage, but it ran out. But it now has a beautiful sharp pinpoint on it. And what I did was I took the insides of the pen out and I took a narrow straw. In actual fact, this is a cake pop straw, an unused one, I hasten to add. And I glued a pin into the tip of it. I worked out how far I wanted it to stick out, and then I had a pin like so, quite a large chunky sort of pin, and I cut the top of this off and I worked out how far I wanted it to stick out, and then I just got my hot glue gun and I put some glue in the tube, put the needle in, or the pin in, and with my asbestos fingers moulded it so that it was all sealed up, and I tested it out and it's fine. So I now have another way of using a pin, because I very often use pins to do vinyl beading and things like that, and this is an easier way of holding it, obviously. So that's what I've done there. Okay, hope you found that useful. Take care now. Bye bye.